Hey, sports fans, Louis Diamond live at you from Las Vegas with BettorCenter and a rundown on today's Major League Baseball games. And we got some games going off real quickly, so let's get right to it. The Atlanta Braves traveling over to the Washington Nationals. That was the game. They broke our heart last night with them Braves, coming back in dramatic fashion, beating the Nats 11-10 after being down 9-6. Scoring some late inning runs. The Nats open up a $2 favorite. The total opens up 9.5. Not much movement on the side, but definitely some movement on the total as we're up to 10 right now, and even some 10 overs, and even 10.5 under, minus 35 over at William Hill. So a lot of steam on the over, and you can see why, as if you were watching the show yesterday, you saw why we'd be playing that. So I am going to be using the Nats again today in another parlay, so it's not going to scare me away. I don't think the Braves can get two in a row here. So they're 37-14 the last 51 against the Nats. And last night was their third win in their last 26 games in Washington. So I don't see the second one coming. So the Nats, definitely a good little parlay going off here real soon. So let's get on the Nats. I think it might be a little late for the over if you're on the 10.5, even or if you're laying 10 over. So I may be a little bit worried about that, but I certainly think there was some value in there if you played it on the overnight. So if you didn't, but we do have an under umpire tonight with Wendelstadt. 7 out of his last 10 games have gone under. So the edge on the over is definitely gone. I'm definitely going to be using Washington in a parlay. And I am going to tie that in here in a minute. I will get to those plays very shortly. Next game I have on the board here is going to feature the Colorado Rockies at the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates open up a $1.10 favorite. Total is 8.5. Now we have $1.15 favorite for the Pirates, and the total has been bet. Has been bet down to 8 right now at bookmaker. So a little bit actually went from 8.5 to 9. Now steaming on the under. Rockies 5-16 their last 21 against the Pirates, 2-10 the last 12 in Pittsburgh. While they are also 7-2 their last 9 overall, 8-3 their last 11 road games versus a right-handed pitcher. 24-12 on the road for the Rockies. Chatwood's 15-6 his last 21 road starts with the Rockies. So not seeing a reason to be that little steam with Pittsburgh, who is 8-17 in their last 25 games when Cole has started on the mound. So a little bit of a little edge towards Colorado. The under has been the flavor for the Rockies. 4-1-1 their last 6 games overall, but 6-2-2 their last 10 following a loss. 4-1-2 for Chatwood to the under his last 7 starts, and on the road 5-2-1. Well, Pittsburgh is 5-2-1 overall, so they're overing right now. But Cole 9-2 to the under his last 11 starts. Got to leave that total alone. Got an under umpire on the mound. Well, Colpa 7 out of his last 10 games to the under. So won't be touching that game. Next game on the board, Tampa Bay Devil Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays at the Toronto Blue Jays. And opens up with a $1.40 favorite for the Blue Jays, up to $1.45. And as I look right now, so that's why I'm trying to get a fresh number on the screen, and I'm having a tough time finding it. So we'll just get right to it. Total is opened up at 9.5 under. We got some steam. It's 9 under. We got some steam. It's down to 8.5 on that game, and total, it's gone up to $1.50 total, still 8.5 at bookmaker, and most of the sports books across the board. Rays are 1-4 their last 5 meetings versus the Jays. 6-0 their last 6 when Estrada is on the mound versus the Jays. They're also 5-1 their last 6 overall, but 1-4 the last 5 road games. Toronto comes in with a stellar 10-3 their last 13 versus a right-handed pitcher. 16-5 the last 21 home games. 15-6 as their last 21 home games versus a right-hander. 13-6 their last 19 overall. two teams playing well. See a little value with the underdog when I have that. And we got a little bit of an underdog here right now, getting as high as plus $1.35 with Tampa Bay Rays. So the over is 5 straight for Tampa Bay, 6 out of the last 7 on the road. And this season, 19 out of their 30 road games have gone over. And when their road games are versus a right-handed pitcher, 13 out of 16 to the over. So got to see some love for the over in this matchup when you're looking at Tampa Bay. But Toronto, they counter it fairly well when Estrada's on the mound because 6-1-1 his last 8 under and 28-12 to the under his last 40 when he does play a team with a winning record. So Estrada does do well, and they go under in his game, so that worries me. The Tampa Bay 40-19 in the first game of a series to the over, but 4 of the last 5 have gone under. And as I said, Estrada gives you a little worrisome. So I would say I would give the edge to the over, but because Estrada's on the mound, I'll be laying off of this game. So we'll move on to the next game on the board. The Arizona Diamondbacks, they're at the Detroit Tigers. And the Tigers are minus $1.10, and the total is 9. And that is that was an opener. That was pretty much the line about an hour ago. And as I look right now, I see about $1.10 and maybe as high as $1.20, and pretty much 9 against with most of the books on the board. D-backs are 2-5 the last 7 meetings. But they are 4 straight winners in their interleague matchups, 5 out of the last 6 games overall. Those have been at home. They're a road team, 2-6 their last 8 versus a righty on the road. 7 straight losses in their last 7 interleague road games. But Greinke has given them 6 out of the last 7 winners in his last 7 starts, 5-1 versus the interleague. Tigers, though, they come in with some pretty decent numbers, though. 15-5 following a day off. 88-36 in the interleague. But when Farmer's on the mound, 2-7 his last 9 starts. Arizona, over, last 6 out of the last 7, but they were at home. They're an over team at home, under team on the road. Under team on the road in interleague game, 4 of the last 5, and 30-12 to the under their last 42 road games overall. So definitely an under scenario for Arizona. Greinke, 4 straight unders on the road. Detroit gives you some over numbers, 7 out of the last 10. 21-7-1 interleague games, 10-3 their last 13 interleague games. Farmer, 8-2, his last 10 overall, all overs. So I am going to be leaving this game alone also right now. And before that Washington game goes off, I'm going to tie it in with the Dodgers and Cleveland. I'm going to play the Dodgers with Kershaw that's going off shortly in that 3-team parlay with Washington as a favorite, Boston as a favorite, and then the Dodgers as a favorite. That's going to pay 2-1. And once again, if you want to get my plays earlier, guys, all you got to do is text free winner to 90210. You'll get the plays before the show ever airs. And most of the time, you get the plays well before the lines move. And if you don't think that you get the games before my plays aren't released and the lines move afterwards, I'm ahead of the move most of the time. That's the point I'm trying to get across. If you don't think that that's happening, you're not paying attention. Because my lines have been moving, and they move in dramatic fashion. In fact, I've been telling you the Minnesota, I haven't been batting Minnesota, but the move is happening there. 9.5 to 11 again today. We'll get to that there in a little bit. So, but the next game we're going to get to on the board is going to be the Chicago Cubs, and they are playing the New York Mets, and the Cubs have struggled with the Mets. The Mets open up $1.20. Cubs open up $1.20 favorite with Lester on the mound. They are up to as high as $1.35 right now. Total is 8.5 under, and now we're getting 8.5 overs. Cubs, like I said, they struggled. 2-10 the last 12 meetings versus the Mets. 0-7 their last 7 in New York. 3-14 on the road, and 1-5 the last 6 overall. Doesn't look like the Cubs are going to get any better tonight, but they do have Lester on the mound. That is their sweet spot, and their sweet spot on the road. Lester, 22-10 his last 32 starts. 22-10 his last 32 grass starts. But 1-5 his last 6 games on the road. Mets 4 straight wins, but 2-6 in Wheeler's last 8 home starts. Tough to play the Mets, but definitely can't be playing them Cubbies. 4 straight unders on the road for the Cubbies. 4 out of their last 5 overall to the under. Lester's been an over on the road, 4-0-1. His last 5, 7-3. His last 10 overall to the over. The Mets, yes, we're always playing them over, but they certainly haven't been over lately after a dead under series with Atlanta and an under last night. But they are 19-8-5 to the over their last 32 home games. And Wheeler is 7-2-2 to the over his last 11 starts. Overall, these two teams, 4 dead unders. So got to kind of leave this one alone. I've been playing the Mets every day, guys. Been playing them over. Today, I leave them alone. Sure, it'll probably go over. What are you going to do about it? So, but I got to leave it alone in this scenario as the Cubs have been undering deadly. So the value is really to be riding these Cubs under right now. So the over in this game is a little bit of an edge with the umpire Mark Wegner on the mound. 3-0-1 his last 4 games behind home plate. Next game on the board will be that third leg of that parlay with the LA Dodgers at the Cleveland Indians. And Kershaw on the mound, minus $1.60, total 7.5. And has the steam, they've steamed him. Kershaw's down up to $1.90 now. So we knew it was going to happen. That's why I tied him up earlier with the parlay. Kershaw does look like a decent play here tonight. 4 straight wins for the Dodgers, 4 out of the last 5. In interleague play, 10 out of the last 14 versus a right-hander. 4 straight interleague wins for Kershaw, who is 44-12 on the road and 46-21 his last 67 road starts. So you got to love Kershaw on the road, finding a place to play him at a decent value, getting him earlier at $1.50, even now at $1.77, $1.80. You got him tied up. You still got some value. Indians are 6-2 their last 8 home games, but 1-10 their last 11 interleague games. And when Bauer gets on the mound at home, 10-4. But when he gets on the mound versus the interleague teams, 0-5. So still riding Kershaw. The under seems to be the play. The 7.5 seems to be a little bit too low for me. You could always find some decent numbers with Kershaw when he's 39-19-1 to the under his last 59 starts, 15-5-1 to the under on the road. Cleveland at home, 12-3 to the under versus a lefty, but interleague games 12-7 to the over at home. They're on the under run right now, 7-3, but Bauer 9-2 to the over at home. So I've left the total alone. I've tied up the Dodgers in a parlay. So that's where I see the value in this game. Now, let's move on to the next game. And that's going to be the Oakland A's. And they are going to be traveling to the Miami Marlins. And the Marlins are open up $1.20 favorite. Total opens up at 9. Current line on the game is, actually the game actually just started. So we're going to just move right past that game. No sense going on. So we missed the start of the Oakland, and I didn't have a play in that game anyways. So we'll go right on to the next game, which be the Boston Red Sox and the Philadelphia Phillies. Another game that has already started, and I said earlier we tied Boston in a parlay with Washington and with the Dodgers. A 3-teamer pay about 2-1. We'll see what happens there today. So now let's get to the next game we have on the board. And let's see if that one hasn't started, which it has not. And that'll be the Texas Rangers. And they are at the Houston Astros. And the Astros open up $1.70 favorite. The total 9.5. And Houston gets steamed up to $1.80. And right now I'm seeing anywhere between $1.70 and $1.80. Total is 9.5 still. Rangers, we do know, have owned Houston. They're 74-34 the last 108 meetings, but we also know that the tides have turned. Rangers have won 5 straight road games, but when Martinez is on the mound, on the road, they've only won 2 out of the last 13. and 7 out of the last 15 overall for Martinez. So not a good spot for the Rangers with Martinez on the mound. Astros, 40-17. Obviously, money the last 57 games. Peacock at home, 1-5. So that's what left me off of tying them into the parlay here tonight. 5 straight unders for the Rangers. 6 straight unders on the road for the Rangers. 4 straight unders versus a right-hander. 5 straight unders versus a team with a winning record. 8 out of 11 unders for Houston when Peacock is on the mound. And when Peacock's on the mound versus the Rangers, 4 out of 5 unders. When Martinez is on the mound against the Astros, 4 out of 5 unders. So certainly some edge on the under 9.5 in this play. I will not be, and I'm behind the plate tonight. Carlson, 3-1-1 to the under. So a little bit of an under edge here, 9.5 on this game. And not going to see any value with the minus $1.70. Let's get on to the next game on the board, which will feature the Baltimore Orioles, who will be traveling to the Chicago White Sox. And it is now the Orioles are now a $1.20 favorite after the White Sox opening up $1.15. Total opens up 10.5. It's pretty much still at 10.5. Orioles have won 4 of the last 5 meetings. Is that the reason for the steam? It's certainly not, because they're 7-20 on the road, their last 27 road games. So that gives me a tough reason for steaming the Orioles. 5 straight losses for the Orioles. 1-4 for Asher on the road. 0-4, or 1-4 for Asher overall. 0-4 on the road. White Sox 7-3 their last 10 home games, so they're a little bit hot, but they're 3 at home, but they're 3-9 on the road. And Holland is 1-5 his last 6 starts. I can't steam either side. I can't see the steam, but there's certainly plenty of it on the Baltimore Orioles today, as Chicago goes from a $1.15 favorite to Baltimore as high as $1.26 right now. Good steam. So the overs had his hit for 4 straight Oriole games, but 4 out of 5 Asher starts have gone under. 8 out of 10 Holland starts have gone over. 1 push in there. Head-to-head in Chicago, 4 overs, 1 under. And the last 12 meetings, 8 overs, 3 unders, and a push. And Honora is an under umpire. His last 4 games, 3-0-1 to the under. Leaving that game alone, not seeing too much value here. And going to get on to the next game, where the team that we're seeing steamed every night to the over right now. So we got to pay attention. I'm not seeing the play, but I am seeing the steam every day on the Minnesota Twins. Total opens up at 9.5, and I am seeing 11. And 11, I was seeing as high. I was seeing 11. I saw a little 11 over. Now 11 is minus $1.09 is about the lowest number I'm seeing right now. So, but they're getting steamed, Minnesota, every night, and certainly something you want to keep an eye on. Gibson is on the mound for Minnesota. Bergman on the mound for Seattle. Bergman opens up a $1.15 favorite, and he's pretty much about a $1.10 favorite. So small little steam on Seattle, and the Mariners 4 out of the last 5 in Minnesota have gone their way. And 4 out of the last 5 overall have gone their way. 4 straight road wins for them. 11-5. 4 overall, their last 15. So Mariners are definitely hot right now. Minnesota, not. 4 straight losses in Gibson's home starts. But 5-1 when Gibson plays the Mariners. Tough to find much of an edge on either side of these plays. Let's look at the over here. 4 straight overs for the Twinkies at home, or at least 4-0-1 for the Twinkies at home. 8-1-1 to the over for Gibson. His last 10 home starts. 18-7-2 to the over for Gibson. His last 27 starts overall. So you can see some over numbers for Gibson on the mound. And so that definitely gives you something to go with Minnesota's overs. And then Minnesota, 7 out of the last 10 have gone over versus Seattle. And Holbrook is a little bit of an over umpire right now. 3-1-1 his last 5 games behind home plate. So certainly a lot of steam on the over. It's at 11. I won't be playing it, but you may still want to see a little value in that or move with the steam. Now, next game on the board, I'm going to have a little bit of a play here. This is going to be a nice 3-unit play in the red hot pick category, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers, and they are at the St. Louis Cardinals. And the Cardinals have had their way versus the Brewers, 37-17 the last 54 meetings. And the steam is on Milwaukee, though, as Gonzalez opens up a $1.25 favorite. And now we're seeing about $1. He's down to about $1.14, as low as $1.14 against Nelson and Milwaukee. And the second game of a doubleheader, the Brewers 3-7 in the second game of a doubleheader. The total in this game is 9. I will be playing this one over. We'll get to that here in a second. And as I said, the Brewers 3-7 in the second half of a doubleheader, 5-11. Nelson's last 16 road starts, 3-7 his last 10 starts overall. So we can't see any reason to be playing the Brewers. Cards 5 straight at home, and they were cold. 11 out of the last 16 in the second game of a doubleheader, so they do well in the second game. So I think there's a little edge there for the Cards in the second game. But they are 3-7 in their last 10 overall, 4-10 versus a right-handed pitcher. Milwaukee is 14-3 to the over this season on the road versus a lefty. That gives me a thumbs up for the over. As I said, I'll be playing this one over. 3-1-1 to the over the last 5 overall. 9-3-1 to the over the last 13 versus a lefty. And the Cardinals, when they play Milwaukee head-to-head, 5 out of the last 7 have gone over. So I see a little play there with the over in this game. We were 9, back down to 8.5, and now back up to, well, there's still some 8.5s out there, but there's still some 9s. 8.5 over, 9 under. Obviously, you'll want to go with the 8.5 over if you can get it. That'll be a 3-unit play, diamond play in the red hot picks. And now let's get down to my executive game today and another red hot diamond play, and that's going to be in the Cincinnati and San Diego game. Told you yesterday I'd be looking at it, and I was looking at San Diego and over, and we didn't play it, but it went San Diego and over, so I don't want to feel like I'm going to miss that opportunity here today. I think it's still going to be a valid play. So Cincinnati opens up a $1.15 favorite, now down to $1.05. And let me see if we got anything. San Diego is actually now steamed up to $1.15 favorite. So they've been steaming San Diego. I did play San Diego as a diamond play. It's a 3-unit diamond play for me. I have a 10-unit over 8.5. Well, I got 8 over now, minus $1.20 or $1.25. It did open up 8.5 under. The Reds 3-7 in San Diego and 5-13 overall, so they don't do well versus San Diego. Richards has not done well versus the Reds. He's lost 4 straight. But versus the Reds versus a lefty, 19-44. So I'm going to ride with San Diego, just betting against things like that. 5-18 on the road for the Reds. 0-4 their last 4 overall. Now I understand San Diego, they're not doing well either. 2-7 their last 9 overall. So that's why it's only a 3-unit play instead of a 10-unit play. Because betting against Cincinnati, if you got some value right now, is something that you definitely want to do. The over has been 3-0-1 for Richards' last 4 starts versus the Reds. The under has hit 5 out of the last 6, but since he's been an over team on the road this year, 17-9, while San Diego has been an over team at home this year, 20-12. I like those numbers. To me, that has a lot of value when you got an over team and on the road and an over team at home. That's strong value. If you can get the pitching to go on top of it, then you really got something. Feldman, 3-1-1 to the over his last 5 road starts. And Richards, 12-4 to the over his last 16 starts during game 2 of the series. Unfortunately, we do have an under umpire tonight with Barksdale, 35-14-2. But I'm not going to let that worry me tonight. I believe we got the teams that have been playing over in the spot to play over. So I will be playing this game over the 8 for 10 units. I'll also be playing San Diego minus. Now you got up to $1.15. I'd still be playing it for 3 units. Next game on the board, Kansas City Royals. They're at the San Francisco Giants. And the Giants open up $1.25 favorite down to as low as $1.15, but mostly around $1.20 favorite right now. So total's been 7.5 all day, fluctuating between 7.5 and 7.5 under, minus $1.25 as high as with station casinos here in Las Vegas. The Royals are 2-7 their last 9 interleague games versus a lefty, 1-5 overall versus a lefty, 1-5 on the road in interleague games versus a lefty. But they have their shining star on the mound, Vargas, 16-6 his last 22 starts, while the Giants 4-12, 4-9 their last 13 overall, 5-12 in interleague games. So we're not fine. And Black, 4-1 though, his last 5 starts. The under, Kansas City, 4 out of the last 5 have gone under at versus San Francisco head-to-head, 4 out of the last 5. Kansas City, though, has 4 straight overs on the road, 5-1-1 overall to the over. But when Vargas is in the mound, 16-5 to the under his last 21 starts. So it's been Vargas and under when Kansas City's on. It's for Kansas City when Vargas is on the mound. So San Fran has been an under at home this year, 20 unders. Laying off of this game. So that will leave us with the rundown of today's picks. Quick little recap. The red hot picks today. San Diego, 3-unit play. Minus $1 as high as $1.20 for a 3-unit diamond play. A 3-unit diamond play also St. Louis and Milwaukee over 8.5. There are some 9s out there. Look for the 8.5. We definitely want to be doing that. The executive play today, 2 executive plays. One was a 3-team parlay, Washington, Boston, and the Dodgers. We got Washington up 3-0 out of the gate. That's good to see. And Boston, no score. And Dodgers have yet to start. So good little start on that, 2-1. And Cincinnati and San Diego over the 8 tonight is also my executive play. This is Louis Diamond. Hope you enjoyed another episode of Better Center Live. See you again here tomorrow in the morning with plenty of plays and a breakdown of every game on the board.